All right, welcome back to the deep dive.
It's good to be here.
So you know the drill. We take that huge stack of material you've got on your desk,
Right, the tech manuals, the producer's private notes.
the late night forum posts, all of it, and we try to boil it down into something you can actually use, something actionable.
And today, we're diving into something brand new
Right.
and honestly, a bit controversial. We're looking at Cakewalk Next.
This is a really interesting moment, isn't it? Cakewalk is this legacy name, a DIW that defined things for decades for a lot of people.
It really was. And now it's back with this radically simplified cross-platform app. So our mission today really is to put it to the test.
To see what it's actually capable of.
Exactly. We need to figure out if Cakewalk Next, which has intentionally stripped away so much of the visual complexity, is a genuinely revolutionary tool for a professional creator.
Or is it just a toy? A feature-stripped app for, an absolute beginner?
That's the core question. Is it a tool or a toy?
And to really push that boundary, we have, I think, the perfect test case. We're following a producer who goes by the Silent Bard.
Or just the Bard,
Yeah.
yeah. This is a fascinating character. He's a Berkeley-trained musician, but he operates under this philosophy that's almost the complete opposite of traditional painstaking studio work.
Right. He calls it the Maniac Bard philosophy.
And it's built on 3 laws, 3 non-negotiable rules that are just perfectly tailored for the creator economy.
Yeah.
It's ultra-fast, super cheap, and good enough.
Good enough. That's the key part, isn't it? He's not chasing some impossible mastering lab idea of perfection.
Not at all. He's chasing market-ready content, and he needs a lot of it. The entire foundation of his factory operating system, as he calls it, is just 100% execution and 0% fluff.
And that's what makes his test of Cakewalk Next so compelling, because he has history here.
He does. He started out as a teenager on the old Cakewalk Sonar, the classic button-heavy, menu-deep DIW.
He knew all the corners of that old machine.
And now he's trying to bridge that past with the future of cloud-based integrated production.
So let's talk about Next's core identity. What makes it so different?
It's the cloud integration. That's the whole ball game. It is, from the ground up, a cross-platform DIW that is explicitly designed to sync projects through the BandLab platform. It's all about making your work fluid.
And that's the lifeblood of his ultra-fast rule, right? If he's spending, 10 minutes tracking a guitar part.
He doesn't want to wait an hour for files to transfer and convert just to check it on another device.
Exactly.
The whole strategy is speed and being able to access your work everywhere. The idea is you could start a vocal melody on the BandLab mobile app, and then instantly it's there on your desktop, Indexed for real editing.
Or the other way around.
Or, and this is probably more common for him, finish a highly produced track on the desktop, kick it back to the BandLab cloud library.
And then what? Check the mix in his car on the way to the store.
Literally. Check it via Bluetooth in the car, or stream it to his home stereo with a Chromecast before he hits publish. For him, this isn't just a piece of software. It's a critical piece of his manufacturing infrastructure.
Okay, so let's get into that user experience, because when you open Cakewalk Next for the first time, especially if you're coming from Pro Tools or, the old Sonar,
Oh, yeah.
the first reaction is just, where did all the buttons go?
It's almost shocking how simple it looks.
So from the Bard's perspective, where his main currency is production speed, is stripping all that stuff out a good thing? Or is there a hidden danger there?
From the ultra-fast perspective, that simplicity is 100% a feature, not a bug.
How so?
Think about those old Avios. They had layers upon layers of menus, obscure preferences.
Right.
Frankly, they encouraged procrastination.
Analysis paralysis. You
Yeah.
spend more time tweaking than creating.
Exactly. Next just gets rid of that. The whole UI is incredibly streamlined. You've got 5 main parts. The transport bar at the top, the inspector on the side, the track pane, the clips pane where your audio lives, and the loop browser. That's it.
It's the visual version of his 0% fluff rule.
It absolutely is. The software is designed to push you toward finishing the song, not endlessly exploring menus.
But I have to ask, isn't there a risk that a pro, someone who really needs that one obscure button for, say, complex routing or a specific track freeze option, is just going to be stuck?
That's the valid concern, but the risk is smaller than you'd think, because they didn't really get rid of the core building blocks. They just organized them in a much smarter way.
So the essential tracks are still there?
All of them. You still have your standard audio, instrument, and bus tracks, and crucially, the track folder.
And I see they've added some specialized tracks too, right? Sampler tracks and pad controller tracks. Tell me about those.
Yeah, and this shows you who they're targeting. This is for modern, beat-driven production. The sampler track is what you'd expect. You can quickly load a sample, chop it, trigger it. Essential for hip-hop or electronic music.
And the pad controller track.
That one's even more direct. It's built to work with hardware pad controllers, like an Akai MPC or something from Native Instruments, or you can just use it on screen. It's all about speed for triggering drum hits or loops.
So it's built for rhythm?
And speed. The fact that you can just hit CPRL plus Shift plus P on the PC and instantly insert one, that tells you everything about the ultra-fast philosophy. Every save click matters.
Okay, let's talk about organization. You mentioned track folders. In older DAWs, folders were nice to have just to keep things tidy, but I hear they're actually critical in this ecosystem.
They are absolutely critical, and it's for two reasons. Organization, yes, but more importantly for data governance.
Data governance, what do you mean by that?
So the organizational part is standard. You put all your drum tracks in one folder, all your vocals in another, easy. But the data governance part is about the cloud.
Ah, the BandLab connection.
Right. If the Bard wants to export his whole project up to his BandLab library to share it or mix it on his phone, that project cannot have more than 24 total tracks or top-level folders.
Wait, 24, that's it? That seems really restrictive for like a big metal track or an orchestral piece.
It is. And it forces you to change how you think. Those folders become the tool you use to manage that track count. If you have, say, 16 drum tracks, you have to put them in a folder, so they only count as one item against that 24-item limit.
So the limitation isn't from the desktop software, it's a constraint from the cloud platform it talks to.
Precisely. It's a professional constraint that's all about making sure the whole ecosystem works smoothly. It forces you to be efficient.
So the simple interface isn't about dumbing things down, it's about forcing you to be organized.
Okay, so how does it handle getting audio into the project? Is that also built for speed? Oh yeah, it's all drag and drop. You just grab your audio files. And the format support is impressive, by the way. WAV, AIF, MP3, FLAC, OGG.
It even takes MP4 video files.
Even MP4. You can just drag the audio right out of a video file into the clips pane.
That saves a ton of time. No need to convert files beforehand. If he's pulling a soundbite from a stream or an old video, it just works.
It's all about removing friction.
What?
And speaking of that, there's this really clever loop replacement feature.
Go on.
Let's say the Bard is trying out different drum loops. He's got a 4-bar hi-hat pattern playing. He can drag a new loop from the browser and drop it right on top of the old one.
And it just replaces it.
It does more than that.
Yeah.
Let's say the new loop is only 2 bars long. Next, we'll automatically repeat it twice to fill the original 4-bar duration.
Oh, that's smart. So you can audition new loops in context without having to manually trim or copy-paste them to fit.
Exactly. It's a small thing, but it tells you so much about who this is for.
It's
for someone who values speed over having 1,000 knobs on the screen.
Okay, but with all this focus on speed and simplicity, what about precision? Editing can feel a bit clumsy in some simplified DAWs. Did they keep pro-level tools like, say, ripple editing?
They did, and that's crucial. It has full ripple editing, which is non-negotiable for any serious work, especially if you're lining things up with video.
So if you cut 2 seconds out of the middle of the song,
everything after it can automatically shift to fill the gap, keeping everything in sync.
And can you control which tracks are affected?
You can. You've got 2 modes. Ripple edit selection only affects the tracks you've highlighted, but then there's ripple edit all, which is the big one.
And that moves everything.
Everything. Any edit you make on any track shuffles the start time of every subsequent clip across the entire project. That includes your markers, your lyric track. Everything stays locked together.
And since the Bard works with video from his streams, there's another feature I know is critical, the clip time base.
Yes, and this is another one of those deep dive features that separates a toy from a real tool.
Explain that for us. What's the difference between musical and absolute time?
So by default, every clip is set to musical time. That means it's tied to the beat. If you change the project tempo from 120 BPM up to 140 BPM, the clip stretches or shrinks to stay on the grid.
Which is what you want for music.
Right. But what if you're scoring a video and an explosion has to happen at exactly 1 minute and 15 seconds? You don't want that sound effect to move if you change the tempo of the music.
It needs to be locked to the clock, not the grid.
Precisely. So you can toggle that clip to absolute time. When you do, a little clock icon appears on it, and that clip is now anchored to that exact spot in time, no matter what you do to the tempo.
That one feature alone proves it's designed for more than just making simple loops. It's built for real-world content creation.
It absolutely confirms it.
Okay, this brings us to the real stress test, the mastering challenge.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
The Bard isn't just making beats here, he's trying to do professional mastering. And he has a very specific, unforgiving target. He needs to hit around -10 LUFS.
Which is that common loudness target for Spotify, for YouTube, all the big streaming platforms.
So the big question is, in a DAW that's trying so hard to be simple, can he actually load his high-end complex waves plugins and hit a professional loudness standard?
This is where we see if the simple interface is just a skin over a powerful engine. And the good news is the engine is powerful. It has full support for both VST and VST3 plugins.
Which is the industry standard.
Right. So that immediately confirms he can load his Waves Mercury Suite or any of the third-party meters he needs. The compatibility is there.
So the plugins will load. What about routing? Is it easy to find the master bus and build a mastering chain, or did they hide it in the name of simplicity?
No, the signal path is very clear. The master bus is right where you'd expect it to be. Any new track you create defaults its output to master. You can see it plainly in the track inspector.
And you just add effects there.
You just add them to that output section, and you're building your master chain. It's very straightforward. They also let you add effects to an entire instrument rack, so you can process, say, all your synth sounds as one unit before they even get to the main master bus.
Okay, what about more complex stuff like shared effects? Every pro workflow sends to a reverb bus to create a cohesive space.
That's all there, too. You use OSENs to send signal to a dedicated bus track, just like in any pro DAW. But the real professional depth is in the tap points.
The tap points. Okay, this is a real deep dive detail. Let's break this down. What are they, and why would the Bard care?
So the tap point is where, in the signal chain, the audio gets sent to the effect. Next gives you three choices: input, pre-fader, and post-fader.
And they each do something very different.
Drastically different. If you choose input, you're sending the raw, completely unprocessed signal to your reverb. Maybe you want a huge, clean reverb wash, but you want to EQ the main vocals separately. That's how you do it.
Okay, what about pre-fader?
Pre-fader means the signal is sent before the track's main volume fader. This is key for effects you want to hear even if the main track is turned down. Think of a long delay trail that you want to ring out after you've muted the vocal.
And post-fader is the most common one, right?
It is. Post-fader sends the signal after the fader. This is what you use for standard, reverb, and delay. It means when you turn the vocal down, the reverb on that vocal goes down with it. It keeps the mix balanced.
The fact that they included that level of granular control, that tells you a lot. The complexity is still there if you know where to look.
The buttons are gone, but the physics of signal flow are all still there.
All right, so he can route the audio, he can load the plugins. Where is the simplicity of the DAW finally break down when he's trying to hit that precise -10 LUFS target?
It breaks down at the final export, the built-in export menu in Next. It has normalization options, but only for older standards, peak and RMS.
There's no LUFS option.
No explicit, built-in LUFS normalization. And for a modern pro, that is the ultimate missing button.
Right. Peak just tells you the loudest single point. RMS is a kind of rough average. But LUFS is the integrated standard that actually measures perceived loudness over time. It's what the streaming services use.
And if he can't measure and guarantee his LUFS output internally, he can't be sure he's hitting his delivery spec. He's completely reliant on his external plugins for that crucial measurement.
And this is where a beginner could get into trouble, right? Just clicking normalize to peak.
Oh, absolutely. The manual even warns against it. If you normalize your mix to 0 dBFS peak, you've left zero headroom, none. And since all the streaming services apply their own processing, your track could end up sounding distorted.
So what's the best practice?
You have to leave headroom, at least 3 to 6 decibels. Your loudest peak should probably be hitting around -3 dBFS to be safe. Without a reliable LUFS meter, you're just guessing at the final loudness. And that violates his 100% execution rule.
So since Next doesn't have that meter, what are the go-to external tools, the ones a pro like the Bard would use to fill that gap?
The good news is there are some amazing and often free options. The sources point to the Julian loudness meter. The free version is fantastic. There's also DP Meter 5 and a loudness analyzer from Melda Production.
And these give him all the data Next leaves out.
All of it. LUFS, peak, stereo balance, everything he needs in one clean interface to confidently master for streaming.
And one last thing on compatibility. What happens if he loads his expensive Waves VSTs and they just don't show up? Is he stuck?
No, there's a professional solution for that. Next has a plugin quarantine manager in the preferences. If a plugin fails the initial scan, it gets put there. He can go in, force a rescan, or manage the list manually.
So even with a simple UI, it still has the back-end admin tools a pro needs.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've established that Next can run the tools. Now let's get into the actual complexity of the Bard's workflow, because we're about to see how a simple-looking DAW has to handle a truly bespoke, almost genius-level production process.
This is where we really see the Maniac Bard philosophy in practice. His sound isn't just about picking presets. He's deep into analog modeling, using tools like the Waves NLS Bus plugin for what he calls foundational glue.
And the NLS bus isn't even a compressor, is it?
No, it's a summing console emulation. It adds subtle harmonic distortion and phase shift. It's the kind of thing that makes a digital mix feel cohesive and, well, analog. That choice alone tells you he's operating on a very high level.
And he's even using AI to get ideas for his mastering chain.
Right, tools like Gemini. But he's quick to point out that the AI is just an assistant. He always says, always listen to your ears.
So it's this blend of classic analog ideas with cutting-edge AI assistance.
But the most specific, most personal part of his whole process is what he calls the Bard muffle fix.
And this isn't just a mix fix for any vocal. This is specifically for his vocal.
It's an EQ chain designed to solve a problem created by his brand. The fact that he wears a mask or a hood when he's on camera.
Wait, really? So the EQ is literally to counteract the physical effect of a piece of fabric over the microphone?
Exactly. The mask creates what he calls mask mud. It's a branding choice that has a direct negative acoustic consequence. And this EQ is the technical solution. It's audio engineering in service of a visual persona.
That is fascinating. Okay, walk us through the settings. What is the Bard muffle fix actually doing to this signal?
So he uses a very precise EQ, like the Waves Q10 or F6, and there are 3 key moves. First, a surgical high-pass filter at 30 hertz.
Standard stuff, just cleaning up low-end rumble.
Right, just getting rid of non-musical noise before it hits the compressors. But the second move is the most important one. It's a mid-cut of about -2 dB, right at 500 hertz.
Why 500 hertz specifically?
That's the core of the mud or boxiness region in a vocal. And when you put fabric near a microphone, it boosts those low mids. This cut directly counteracts the muffled sound of the mask.
And the third move?
That's a high shelf boost. A plus 3 dB boost starting at 8 kilohertz.
Ah, to add the air back in.
Precisely. Fabric absorbs high frequencies first, so this boost compensates for that loss. It adds clarity and ensures his voice cuts through the physical barrier of the mask.
So the simplicity of the DIW is completely irrelevant at this point. Its only job is to be a stable platform for him to run this incredibly specific proprietary EQ chain.
And that's just the start of his chain. After that comes the compression glue. He puts the famous SSL comp stereo across the master bus.
A classic for a reason.
A total classic. But he uses it subtly. He's only looking for 1 to 2 dB of gain reduction at a 1.4 ratio. He's very clear that any more than that, and you're not gluing the mix, you're squishing it.
Okay, let's touch on something really advanced he mentioned from his old workflow, the C1 Comp Ghost. What is that about?
The C1 Comp Ghost is this fascinating insight into pro-level gain staging. He has a Wave C1 compressor early in his chain, but it's set to a 1.1 ratio.
So it's not actually compressing anything.
It's not compressing at all, but it's still doing something important. In some older DAWs, just having certain plugins in the chain adds a bit of their analog character, their sonic color.
So it's there for its sound, not its function.
Partly. But more importantly, it's a perfect clean gain staging tool. He can use the C1's output trim to precisely boost or cut the signal level before it hits the SSL compressor or the EQ.
Ah, so he's making sure the signal is at the absolute perfect volume to get the best performance out of the next plugin in the chain.
That's gain staging in a nutshell. And using a 1.1 compressor to do it is a very clever, very pro-level move. It proves that the DAW's job isn't to be complex. Its job is to be stable enough to handle a complex workflow.
So let's circle back to that big philosophical question. Simple versus complex. We started this asking if Cakewalk Next is a toy or a tool.
Right.
But maybe the real question is the one the Bard poses himself. Maybe we don't need 1,000 buttons. Maybe we just need to finish the song.
And that one sentence just perfectly sums up the entire creator economy. It's his third law, good enough, not perfect, but market ready. And that's driven by the need for speed, his ultra-fast protocol.
It's a philosophy he calls creative maximalism.
Exactly. And what that means is that in today's world, volume and consistency often win out over tiny, marginal gains in quality.
The person who puts out 10 songs quickly gets more attention than the person who spends a year perfecting one.
That's the reality of the market. Velocity is rewarded. And a tool like Next, with its simple interface and its fast cloud access, is built to support that velocity.
So you're saying Next is deliberately designed to feed a high-volume content funnel?
I think so. Look at his content types. He has his raw live streams, the OH. He has his highly edited videos, the OHE. And he has his shorts for discovery, the FF. Next helps with all three.
How does it specifically help with those highly edited OHE videos, the ones where he needs over 70% average view duration?
Eye retention on video today, it's all about dynamic editing. You need scene changes every couple of seconds. You need to ruthlessly cut out any dead air.
Which requires a ton of fast, fluid clip manipulation.
Right. And Next, simple clip handling, the drag and drop features, and especially ripple editing, are perfect for that. If he needs to cut a 4-second pause where he's thinking, he can delete it, and ripple edit, all will automatically pull everything forward, keeping the music and effects perfectly in sync.
But his production stack doesn't end in the DAW. And this is the key insight, I think. To get simplicity in the DAW, he has to add complexity outside of it.
That is the essential takeaway for you, the listener. The complexity never really goes away. It just gets moved.
So for his videos, he's using external AI tools.
He is. He's using CapCut Desktop's Remove Silence feature. He runs his raw stream recordings through it, and the AI automatically cuts out all the pauses, the ums, all the dead air.
So a task that used to take hours of tedious manual editing is now automated by an external AI layer.
Which frees him up to focus his creative energy on the music inside. Next, he automates the low-value repetitive work.
But that's still a lot of technical knowledge to juggle. The Cakewalk shortcuts, the EQ settings, the CapCut process. How does he manage that cognitive load?
That is also managed externally with another AI, Notebook LM. But he's not using it for creative ideas. He's training it to be his personal technical support engineer.
How?
He calls his method surgical data feeding. He avoids what he calls data slop, just dumping a 500-page manual into the AI, which just confuses it.
So what does he do instead?
He creates simple, focused text files. Sniper data. He has a file called factoryspecs.txt that contains only the specific settings he actually uses. His exact EQ curve, his LUFS target, his CapCut workflow.
So he's built his own custom searchable technical manual that knows his entire bespoke system.
That's it. And that intelligent data management layer is the real pro feature that allows the data itself to stay simple.
So the final verdict is really clear. Cakewalk Next strips away the interface buttons to maximize speed.
But to get professional results, the Bard has to reintroduce the complexity through external layers. First, with precise VST meters like Ulean, and second, with an intelligent data system like Notebook LM to manage his own playbook.
The complexity isn't gone, it's just been externalized.
It's been digitized and outsourced.
This has been an absolutely fascinating deep dive. It shows that Cakewalk Next is definitely a professional tool in the hands of a professional who knows how to build a system around it.
Right. Its VST support lets you plug in the precision you need, and its cloud sync serves the high-volume demand of the modern creator.
For you, the listener, I think the biggest takeaway here is that the definition of a pro is changing. The buttons aren't gone, they've just been abstracted into different layers.
Your professional edge isn't about memorizing a 1,000-page manual for one piece of software anymore. It's about being able to master and integrate these external layers, the AI tools, the data protocols, the essential metering that gives you competitive results.
It's less about mastering a single interface and more about building your own custom. All right, welcome back. Oh, hey there, what's up?
That is a phenomenal question.
And a crucial one.
Gain staging is absolutely the first step.
Before EQ, before compression.
Exactly. It's the process of making sure
The audio level coming into each plugin,
or module is appropriate.
you want to give it enough headroom.
Right. Headroom is key.
We mentioned the producer we're tracking, the Bard.
He focuses on this heavily,
He starts by reducing his volume.
so he gets enough headroom.
Build all the inside parts up equally.
The goal is to prevent what's called digital clipping,
That harsh distortion that happens.
when the signal goes above 0 dB.
You want to reduce the volume
So your loudest part is peaking.
far below that maximum.
He uses a technique with a compressor.
That's not even compressing,
We'll get into that a little later.
but he uses it as a precise output trim.
to set the gain just right,
So it's about setting the stage
making sure the audio signal
at the optimal level for
Yeah.
everything.
that comes next in your chain.
It guarantees the best performance. from your plugins. It's all about precision before power. Now let's get back to the show. Back to the deep dive. Good to be here. So you know the drill. We take that
That huge stack of material you've got.
on your desk.
Right, the tech manuals, the producer's private notes.
Late night forum posts, all of it.
And we try to
Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission today is, well, it's a very specific one. We're creating the absolute beginner's field guide to Cakewalk Next.
Bro.
We're basically wiping the slate clean, forgetting everything we know, and putting ourselves in the shoes of someone who has never, ever touched music software, a DA, anything.
Right.
They just want to make a song. And we're going to take them from that first double click all the way to an actual file they can share.
That is exactly the challenge. And, the biggest barrier for anyone starting out is just the sheer volume of jargon.
Oh, absolutely.
So our job is to be translators,
Yeah.
to break down those fundamental questions one by one. How do I even get sound to come out of my computer?
The classic first problem.
Yeah. Or what am I even looking at on this screen? How do I make the first sound happen? And then, how do I set volumes? And finally, how do I get it out of the software?
Yeah.
Clarity over complexity. That's the rule today.
Okay, so before we dive into that first click, let's zoom out a little. The big picture. Why Cakewalk Next? I mean, besides the fact that it's what we're focused on today.
Well, it's a great question. At its core, Cakewalk Next is a full-featured, cross-platform digital audio workstation, a DAW.
So it's the real deal. It's not a toy.
No, not at all. It replaces the old-school tape machine, the mixing board, all of it. But the really fascinating part, and why it's so great for a beginner, is that it's provided completely free of cost by BandLab.
And it's more than just software on your computer, right? It's kind of a whole connected thing.
Precisely. That's the key feature. It's got this cloud-based project sync. So you could be, say, humming a melody into the BandLab mobile app on your phone.
On your commute or something.
Exactly. On iOS, on Android, whatever. Then you get home, you open Cakewalk Next on your desktop, and that exact project is just there, ready to go.
Yeah.
It completely breaks down that wall between a quick sketch and, serious production.
That flexibility sounds incredible. What are some of the, practical perks of that cloud integration?
Well, think about how we listen to music now. You can be mixing in your room, you save it, and then you can instantly pull up that latest version in your car over Bluetooth to see how it translates.
The all-important car test.
The car test, yeah. Or you can stream it right to your TV or your hi-fi system with Google Chromecast. It lets you check your work in all these real-world places without ever having to, export the file, email it to yourself, move it around. It's seamless.
And what about collaboration? I imagine if you're a novice, you're probably pretty nervous about your first track. Getting feedback is huge.
Oh, absolutely. The BandLab integration makes that super easy. You can invite people to work on your project publicly, privately. It's built for it. Now, there is one crucial detail we have to mention because it's tied to the whole free thing.
Yeah.
Cakewalk Next requires activation. You just link it to your free BandLab account. You can use a Google or Facebook login, one of those single sign-on deals.
And what does that involve?
It's really nothing. It just needs to refresh that activation automatically, maybe every 6 months or so, just to make sure you can still save and export. It's a tiny administrative step to get a completely free professional DAW.
Okay, so we've downloaded it, we've signed in, we double-click the icon, the software launches. This is that first moment of truth for a new user. What are we looking at?
By default, you're going to see the quick start screen. I kind of think of it as the lobby of the studio.
Right.
You can turn it off later in the preferences if you want, but for a beginner, it's essential. It organizes your first move.
So what are my options from that lobby?
It gives you 4 clear paths. You can start a new project from scratch. You could browse your local projects, the stuff saved on your actual computer. You can look at online projects, which are the ones synced from the cloud. And It's a big one for beginners. You can open the demo projects.
Ah, so you can see how a pro track is put together.
Exactly. You can just poke around and see how a finished song is built before you even try to lay down a note. It's a great way to learn.
For someone staring at a blank screen, though, I'm guessing that Create tab is the most important button.
It absolutely is. It's the lifeline. Under the Create tab, you find project templates. And these are they're shortcuts to getting started.
What kind of templates are we talking about?
Well, if you want to make, say, an electronic dance track, you pick the EDM template, and boom, you've got drum sounds, instrument tracks, effects, all loaded up and ready to go. Or there's a 4-track template if you just want to record a couple of simple things.
So it saves you from building the entire studio from scratch every time.
Totally. It eliminates that terrifying blank page problem.
Okay, so we've picked a template, the main screen opens. Now for the moment that trips up every single new user, myself included back in the day, getting sound out of the computer. I press the space bar, I see things moving, but I hear nothing.
Yeah.
Where do I go? What's the one page I need to find?
You need to go directly, do not pass go, to Preferences, and then Audio.
Okay, Preferences Audio.
Yep. This is the bridge between the software's digital world and the physical world of your speakers. It's where you have to enable your input device, that's your microphone, and your output device, your speakers or headphones. If those aren't set right, you're just not going to hear anything.
Right. And on that page, we hit our first piece of unavoidable jargon, sample rate. I see something like 48,000 hertz. What does that actually mean in simple terms?
Okay, think of audio like a movie. The sample rate is the frame rate of the sound.
Okay.
So if you see 48,000 hertz, that means the computer is taking 48,000 little snapshots or samples of the sound wave every single second. The higher the number, the more detail.
And what's the big rule for a novice here?
The crucial non-negotiable rule is that the sample rate is a one-time decision. You make it when you create the project and you cannot change it later. So you have to pick one and stick with it.
Is there a best practice for someone on like a standard laptop?
Yes. This is a huge tactical tip. It is always best to keep the DAW sample rate, the one you choose for your project, exactly the same as your computer's own setting. Windows or
If they don't match.
well, if they mismatch, say your project is 48 kilohertz, but your computer is set to 44.1, your computer has to constantly work as a translator in the background.
Wow.
It's taking 48,000 snapshots and converting them down to 44,100 every single second. And that eats up your CPU. Can lead to crackles, glitches, timing problems. If you match them, you eliminate that middleman. Everything just runs smoother.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, now for the next potential minefield. The driver dilemma. I see things like Wasapi and ASIO. Why do we even need special drivers?
This is all about speed. It's about how fast the software can talk to your hardware, especially when you're recording something new while listening back to the other tracks. That's called overdubbing.
Right, and if it's too slow, you get latency. That horrible delay.
That's the one. That distracting echo where you hear your voice a split second after you sing.
Hate that.
Exactly. So the industry standard to fix that is the ASIO driver. Think of ASIO as a dedicated, private, high-speed highway just for your audio. It bypasses all the normal computer traffic and gives the DAW priority access to your sound card. The result is super low latency.
But a lot of beginners might not have a fancy audio interface. They might just be using the headphone jack on their laptop or a really basic Behringer interface or something.
Right, and those often don't have their own ASIO drivers. So in Cakewalk Next, your best alternative is to choose the Wasapi exclusive driver setting.
And what does that do?
Think of Wasapi exclusive as the computer temporarily shutting down all other audio traffic to give your DAW priority. It's not quite the private highway of ASIO, but it's like clearing all the other cars off the road for a minute. It mimics that low latency performance really well. If you're struggling with delay, that's the setting to try.
So to recap, if your sound is crackly, check the sample rate match. If your recording is delayed, check the driver. Aim for ASIO if you have it, Wasapi exclusive if you don't.
That's the foundation.
Okay, so everything is working now. We hear sound. We obviously need to save our masterpiece.
Standard stuff here, file new project, and then file save project. But here's a pro tip for anyone who is even thinking about sharing their music later.
I'm listening.
Immediately fill out the project information editor.
Why do that now? It feels like an extra step when I just want to make music.
Because it sets you up for success later.
Yeah.
You can sign it in the main toolbar. And it's basically the digital liner notes for your song. Title, author, album, genre, all that stuff.
Okay.
When you eventually export an MP3 or share it on BandLab, all that metadata gets embedded automatically. So when your friend plays it on their phone, they see your name and the song title. It just looks professional from day one.
We've got sound, we've picked a template, we saved. Now we are staring at this main workspace, and let's be honest, it looks like a spaceship control panel.
It can be a little intimidating, yeah.
So let's break down the anatomy of the screen. Where should a beginner look first?
Okay, let's define 4 main zones. Starting at the very top, you have the main toolbar or the transport. This is like the brain of the operation.
That's where play and pause live.
Exactly. Play, pause, the big red record button, your tempo, the BPM, and the button to make a section loop over and over again. All the main movement controls are up there.
Okay, got it. Now what about that vertical panel on the left side?
That is the track pane. I like to call it the cast list or maybe the control center.
Cast list, I like that.
Yeah. It's this vertical column that has a control strip for every single sound in your song. Every instrument, every vocal, every group. If you have drums, bass, and vocals, you'll see 3 distinct strips listed there. It's where you control the basics for each individual sound.
And then the huge area to the right that stretches across the screen.
That's the clips pane. That is the timeline. This is where your song actually lives, visually. It's like the film strip or the storyboard of your music. It stretches from left to right over time, and it holds all the little blocks of music we call clips.
And running right along the top of that timeline is the time ruler. It's got MBT written on it. What does that stand for?
MBT stands for measures, beats, ticks.
Okay.
Think of it like this. A song is organized into big paragraphs. Those are the measures. The measures are divided into sentences. Those are the beats. And the sentences are made up of tiny little letters. Those are the ticks. It's just how the software keeps track of rhythm and time. It helps you see where you are in the song. You know, this is measure 1, this is measure 2.
That makes sense. Okay, let's zoom in on that track pane, the cast list. Every one of those strips has like 10 buttons and sliders on it. What are the absolute must-know controls?
Let's run through the essentials.
Yeah.
You got the track name and the icon, so you know what it is.
Yeah.
Then you have the key mixing buttons.
Okay.
First, mute, the M button. Click it, that track goes silent. It's like telling one singer to take a break.
Got it.
Then there's solo, the S button. That's the opposite. You click solo, and only that track plays. Everything else gets muted. It's perfect for checking one sound by itself.
Okay, mute and solo. What's next?
The record arm button. It's a little red dot. You have to click this to tell the software, hey, I want to record on this track. If that red dot isn't lit, you can't record on it.
So it's like a safety switch.
Exactly. Then you have the track monitor, which looks like a little pair of headphones. That lets you hear the sound coming into the track as you're recording it. And then you've got the meter, that vertical bar that lights up. It just shows you how loud the signal is.
And finally, the big ones.
The volume slider for making things louder or quieter, and the pan control, which moves the sound left or right in your headphones.
That's a great breakdown. Now, let's talk about those icons you mentioned. There are a few different types of tracks a beginner is going to see.
Correct. And the icon tells you what the track's job is. First up is the audio track. It looks like a little wavy line.
Okay.
This is for any sound that's already recorded. Vocals, an acoustic guitar, a drum loop you downloaded. It's for handling sound waves that already exist.
And the second type?
The instrument track. That one has a little keyboard icon. This track is designed to host a software instrument, a digital synth, a virtual piano, something that's generated inside the computer using MIDI data.
So one is for real sounds, the other is for digital sounds, and there are some more specialized ones too, right?
Yep, 2 others you might see. The sampler track, which has a waveform monitor icon. That's for loading up and playing individual sampled sounds. And the pad controller track, which looks like a drum pad. It's specifically for triggering drum samples and loops.
And the last one isn't for sound at all, it's for organizing. The track folder.
The track folder, yep, the little folder icon. It's purely for housekeeping. If you have, say, 5 different tracks for your drums, kick, snare, hi-hats, you can group them all into one folder.
Just to keep things tidy.
Exactly. It cleans up your track pane. And here's a little technical tip. Using folders is important if you plan on using the BandleLab Cloud features. Your total project, meaning all your tracks plus your top-level folders, shouldn't go over 24. It's just a limitation for keeping things portable in the cloud.
Okay, we've got the map, we know what everything does. Now for the fun part. The moment a beginner actually feels like they're making music is when they hear their first loop playing back.
Right.
How do we make that first noise as easily as possible?
The fastest way in is definitely with pre-made loops. First, you need a track to put a loop on. You can click the little plus icon, the insert track button in the track pane.
Or there are keyboard shortcuts, right?
Yeah. If you want to start feeling like a pro, It's Control plus T on Windows or Command plus T on a Mac for an audio track, and add Shift to that for an instrument track.
So where does a total beginner find these loops?
Cakewalk Next has a built-in loop browser. It's a special panel, usually on the right side of the screen, that's just filled with free loops and samples ready to go.
And how do I get a sound from that browser onto my timeline?
It could not be simpler, which is why it's the best place to start. It's just drag and drop. You literally click on a loop you like in the browser, hold the mouse button, drag it over to the big clips pane, and let go. That's it. The software automatically creates a new audio track and places the loop right at the start of your song.
That's it. And what about files I have on my computer, like an MP3 or something?
Same deal. You can drag a WAV file, an MP3, FLAC, whatever, directly from your desktop into the clips pane, and it'll do the same thing. And if the sample rate of your file is different from your project,
It fixes it automatically.
it converts it for you automatically. No headaches.
Let's dig into that drag and drop thing a bit more, because I read it can do some pretty cool stuff for editing too.
Oh yeah, it's a huge time saver. Let's say you have a 4-bar drum loop already playing on your timeline.
Okay.
You can find a different drum loop in the browser and drag it directly on top of the clip that's already there.
Wait, so it just replaces it?
It replaces the sound. But here's the clever part. It keeps the original length. The 4-bar duration stays exactly the same. The software will automatically stretch or repeat the new loop to perfectly fit that original space.
Wow, so you can audition like 5 different bass lines for your chorus without having to re-edit the timeline every time.
Exactly. It lets you experiment super fast without messing up your arrangement.
Okay, that's incredibly cool. But let's move beyond loops. What if I have a little keyboard plugged in and I want to record my own notes, my own melody?
Now we're getting into performance. So to record your own musical data, which we call MIDI, you need to be on an instrument track.
The one with the keyboard icon.
That's the one.
Oh.
Step 1 is you have to arm the track for recording. You click that little red dot on the track strip. That tells a DAW, hey, any notes I play on my keyboard should be recorded right here.
And then I just hit the big red button at the top.
Correct. You hit the main record button in the transport or just press R on your keyboard. You'll probably hear a little count in, and then you play. When you're done, hit the space bar to stop.
Okay, but what if I record a part and it's okay, but I want to add to it without deleting what I just did? That's a common beginner fear.
That is where the overdub MIDI function is your best friend. With overdubbing on, when you record again on that same track, it doesn't erase the old part. It just merges the new performance with the old one, creating new clips right alongside the original ones. It's perfect for building up parts, like layering a harmony.
So my performance wasn't perfect. Shocker. My timing was a little shaky. So I double-click the MIDI clip, and this new window opens up the piano roll. It looks like a grid with little rectangles on it. How do I fix my mistakes?
The piano roll is where you edit the notes. And on the side, you'll see the clip inspector. That's where you find your 2 magic tighten-up tools, velocity and quantize.
Let's start with velocity. That's not just volume, is it?
No, it's more like intensity or emotion. It's a measure of how hard you struck the key. Hit it hard, you get high velocity and the note is loud and bright. Hit it soft, you get low velocity and it's quiet and gentle.
So I can change that after I've recorded.
Totally. In the inspector, you can use a slider or drag little handles under each note to change its velocity. So if one note in your chord is too quiet, you just nudge its velocity up to make it pop.
And then there's quantize, the rhythm corrector.
The rhythm police, yeah. Quantize is the tool that saves sloppy performances. It automatically snaps your notes to a perfect rhythmic grid. If you choose an 18th note grid, for example, every note you played will get pulled to the nearest 8th note spot on the timeline.
It's basically autocorrect for your timing.
That's a perfect way to put it. It takes a messy, human performance and makes it digitally precise. It's essential for genres like EDM or hip-hop where you want that tight, locked-in feel. It just pulls everything into line.
So we built our song, the clips are there, the timing is perfect thanks to quantize. But now the bass is way too loud and the drums are buried. It's time to put on the sound engineer hat. What is step 1 for a beginner who wants to mix?
Step 1 is the absolute simplest form of balance, volume and panning. Forget effects for now. You just need to get the relative loudness right.
And I find those on the track pane.
On every single one of those channel strips, you will see a volume slider and a pan knob or control.
So if I want my vocals to be the loudest thing, I just pull that slider up.
You pull a vocal slider up, and you pull the sliders for the other instruments down until it all sounds balanced.
Yeah.
And then you use the pan control to place things in the stereo field.
Yes.
Left, right, or center.
So I could pan one guitar a little to the left and another a little to the right to create some space.
That's exactly what you do. It creates width and clarity. And here are 2 little power user tips for you. If you want to reset a volume or pan control back to its default, just double-click it.
Oh, that's handy.
And if you want to make really, really fine adjustments, hold down the Shift key while you drag the slider. It slows the movement way down.
Love those little workflow hacks. Okay, so the track pane just gives us volume and pan. If I want to do more, like add an effect, I need to look at the track inspector. What is that?
The track inspector is the detailed control panel for whatever track you have selected. It usually appears down at the bottom of the screen, below your timeline, and it's split into 2 main sections. The left side is for routing and sends, and the right side is for effects.
Let's talk routing first. I see an input and an output. I'm guessing the output is the important one for mixing. Where should all my tracks be going?
For the most part, almost every track should be routed to the master bus. Which brings us to a really important concept, the bus.
Okay, what is a bus?
A bus is basically a destination. It's a central channel where you collect multiple sounds to be processed together before they leave the software.
So the master bus is the final exit door for the whole song?
Exactly.
Wow.
It's where your entire stereo mix comes together before it goes out to your speakers. It's so important it even has its own special channel strip, which you can show or hide with the shortcut Shift+B. Everything goes to the master bus.
Okay, so if the master is the final destination, how does this bus idea help with effects? This brings us to OH007s. Why shouldn't I just put a reverb plug-in on every single track?
I mean, you could, but you really, really shouldn't, for 2 big reasons. First, it's a huge waste of your computer's power. It can really slow things down.
And the second reason?
It sounds bad. If you put a different reverb on your vocal and a different one on your snare and another on your guitar, they all sound like they're in different rooms. Your mix won't sound cohesive.
Ah, so OH007s let you share the same virtual room.
That's it exactly. You create one dedicated bus track, let's call it the reverb bus, and you put just one reverb plug-in on it. Then from each of your instrument tracks, you use an OH007 to send a little copy of that signal over to the reverb bus.
So I'm sending a little bit of the vocal and a little bit of the snare to the same shared reverb.
Yep. And the send knob acts like a faucet, letting you control how much of each instrument you send. It makes the whole mix sound like it's in the same space, and it's way more efficient.
This opens up another layer, though. I see settings for pre-fader and post-fader. That sounds super technical.
Let's use a simple analogy.
Huh?
Imagine your track's main volume slider is a big garden hose.
Okay.
The OH007 is a smaller tap that comes off that main hose. The pre- or post-fader setting just determines where on the hose you place that smaller tap.
So what's post-fader?
Post-fader means the tap is placed after the main volume control. So if you turn down the main volume of the track, the amount being sent to the reverb also goes down. The effect follows the volume of the track.
So if I want my guitar and its reverb to fade out together, I use post-fader.
Exactly. Now, pre-fader means the tap is placed before the main volume control. So you could turn the main volume of the track all the way down, but the signal is still being sent to the reverb from before that point. The effect stays on.
Why on earth would I want to do that?
It's a great creative effect. Imagine you want to fade a vocal out, but have the reverb tail kind of hang in the air for a second after the voice is gone. You'd use a pre-fader send to do that.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Let's look at the other side of the inspector now, the place for effects that are just on one track. Inserts.
The right side is for your inserts, yeah.
Yeah.
This is where you put an effect that only affects that one specific track, like an EQ to shape the tone or a compressor to control the dynamics. And Cakewalk Next supports all the industry standards, VST, VST3 plugins, so you have thousands of tools you can use.
Before we get into complex stuff like EQ, let's go back to simple volume. We can normalize audio clips, right? When would I use that?
Normalizing is super useful if you have a recording that's just too quiet overall, maybe a vocal take. Even with the volume slider all the way up, it's not loud enough. Normalizing will raise the entire clip's volume by a fixed amount to hit a target you set.
And when I go to do that, it gives me 2 options, peak or RMS. What is the difference?
This is a really important distinction. Peak normalization looks for the single loudest, spikiest point in the audio and raises the whole clip's volume until that one point hits your target. Its only goal is to prevent clipping.
Okay. And RMS?
RMS is smarter. It stands for root mean square, and it measures the average loudness of the clip. It's much closer to how our ears perceive volume. So RMS normalization makes the whole clip sound consistently louder, not just based on one tiny peak.
So peak is about avoiding distortion, but RMS is about perceived volume.
That's a great way to put it. For making a track feel more present and consistently loud in a mix, RMS is usually more effective.
What's the golden rule for what level to normalize to inside a project?
The headroom rule. You must never, ever normalize to 0 dBFS peak. That is the absolute digital ceiling. You need to leave space for all the other tracks and for the final mastering process.
So leave some room at the top.
A good rule of thumb is to leave at least 3 to 6 decibels of headroom. So maybe normalize your track to -3 or -6 dBFS peak. That gives you crucial space to work with later without everything turning into a distorted mess.
We've done it. The song is written, the mix is balanced, we've left our headroom. We are finally ready to turn this project file into an audio file that anyone can play. The digital release.
The finish line.
How do we start?
It's pretty simple. You go to File Export Audio, or you can click the Share button and choose Export Audio from there. That opens up the export dialog box, where you have to make 3 key decisions.
What are they?
First is the source. For a beginner, this will almost always be main mix or master. You want to export what's coming out of that final master bus.
Makes sense.
Second is the range. Are you exporting the entire project from the very beginning to the very end, or just a section you've highlighted? Or maybe just the part you have looped. You have to tell it what part of the timeline you want.
And the third decision, the big one, format. I see MP3, WAV, FLAC.
Right. You have to pick the right tool for the job. If you just want to text a demo to a friend or upload something quick, MP3 is your best friend. It's small and compressed.
And if I want higher quality?
Then you go for a lossless format like WAV or FLAC. They are much bigger files, but they contain all the original audio quality. If you're sending your track to someone else to be professionally mastered, you absolutely have to send them a high-quality WAV file.
And below that, I see more quality settings, bit depth and sample rate.
Yep. This is where you can choose the final quality of the file you're creating. Even if you worked at, say, 24-bit 48 kilohertz, you might export an MP3 at the standard CD quality of 16-bit 44.1 kilohertz.
Now, when we do that, when we go from a higher quality to a lower one, the dialog box mentions a weird word, dithering. It sounds like you're adding noise on purpose.
You are. But it's good noise. It's controlled noise for a very important reason.
Okay.
When you go from a high-resolution, say 24-bit file, down to a 16-bit file, you're throwing away a lot of digital information. And that process can create some ugly-sounding distortion, especially in the really quiet parts of your song. It's called quantization error.
So what does dithering do about it?
Dithering adds a tiny, tiny amount of carefully calculated random noise to the signal before it gets converted. And that gentle, random noise actually masks the ugly, predictable distortion from the conversion. It makes the final 16-bit file sound much smoother and cleaner.
So it's like a necessary little fix to make sure the quality doesn't suffer when you shrink the file.
Exactly.
Okay, so the file is exported, but now a novice listens to it, and it's clean, but it's way quieter than anything on Spotify. This brings us to that final step, making it loud enough to share.
This is the art of mastering. And you're right, the meters in your DIW tell you if you're clipping, but they don't tell you if your song sounds loud.
So we need a different kind of measurement.
We need the professional standard, which is LUFS. It stands for Loudness Units Full Scale. It's a measurement of perceived loudness over time, much closer to how our ears actually work. And all the streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, they all have target LUFS levels.
So if your song is too quiet, they turn it up, and if it's too loud, they turn it down.
Which can mess with your dynamics, so you want to get it right beforehand. And this sounds like you need expensive tools, but you don't. The sources we looked at highly recommend the free version of the Julian Loudness Meter. It's a VST plugin that does a brilliant job of measuring LUFS. You just put it as the very last plugin on your master bus, that final exit door, and it'll tell you exactly how loud your track is.
That's a fantastic tip. So what's the best final workflow for a beginner?
For a quick share, just export the MP3 and you're done. But if you want to get serious about competitive volume, you should export your final mix as a high-quality WAV file first. Then you can apply your mastering tools, use that Julian meter to check your LUFS level, and only then, once it's perfect, do you export that final mastered file to MP3 for sharing.
We did it. The whole journey. We started with that confusing first launch. We figured out the audio preferences to actually hear something.
ECO versus WSP.
We mapped the whole interface, the cast list, the storyboard. We learned how simple it is to get started with just dragging and dropping loops, and then how to fix our own
Hey there. Want to share your thoughts on this? That is a fantastic question.
And a great place to start.
Because before we dive into
We
buttons,
need to know why we're here.
absolutely. So what is Cakewalk Next?
Okay, let's unpack this.
At its core, it's a cross-platform.
Digital audio workstation, a DAW.
Yes, it's the whole studio.
Not a toy, but the real deal.
And here is where it gets really interesting.
It's provided completely free of cost.
By BandLab Technologies.
That immediately sets it apart.
From many other professional DWs.
Many cost hundreds of dollars.
Think of it as a creation-focused dado.
It's designed for streamlined music making.
That's the key difference.
It represents a pivot from its predecessor.
The Sonar legacy, or Cakewalk by BandLab.
Those were production-first environments.
They excelled at deep complexity.
Very detailed MIDI sequencing.
And complex signal routing.
You needed a large modular console view.
Cakewalk Next simplifies that.
It focuses on mobility and creation.
It has cloud-based project sync,
So you start on a mobile app.
then move seamlessly to the desktop.
That fluid transition is its superpower.
This integration with BandLab,
Is what other DAWs often lack.
it breaks down that wall
A
between.
quick sketch and serious production.
And this mobile connection,
Offers a lot of practical perks.
like checking your mix in the car
The all-important car test.
or streaming to your hi-fi system
It's all about checking your work.
in real-world environments easily.
Collaboration is also super simple.
You can invite others to work on,
Your project via the BandLab cloud.
but to keep it free, there is a step.
The activation, which we mentioned earlier,
It requires linking to your BandLab account.
usually a quick single sign-on,
It ensures you have the latest,
supported version of the software.
and it refreshes maybe every 6 months.
You need to be logged in to save and export. So clarity over complexity.
It's the rule for Cakewalk Next.
It prioritizes getting you making music.
Okay, so that gives us the big picture.
Now let's dive into the first click.
We've downloaded it, we've signed in. This is the moment of truth.
The software launches.
By default, you're going to see,
The quick start screen.
I think of it as the studio lobby.
It organizes your first move,
You can turn it off later in preferences.
but for a beginner, it's essential.
So what are your options from that lobby?
It gives you 4 clear paths.
You can start a new project from scratch.
Or browse your local projects.
The stuff saved on your actual computer, you can look at online projects.
The ones synced from the cloud.
And this is a big one for beginners.
You can open the demo projects.
So you can see how a pro track is put together.
Exactly. You can poke
You can
around.
see how a finished song is built.
Before you even try to lay down a note.
It's a great way to learn.
For someone staring at a blank screen, though,
The Create tab is the most important button.
it absolutely is. It's the lifeline.
Under the Create tab, you find project templates.
They're shortcuts to getting started.
What kind of templates are we talking about?
Well, if you want to make,
Say, an electronic dance track,
you pick the EDM template.
and boom, you've got drum sound
Instrument tracks, effects all loaded.
ready to go. Or there's a 4-track template.
If you just want to record a couple simple things,
So it saves you from building
the entire studio from splice every time.
Totally. It eliminates that.
Terrifying blank page problem.
Okay, so we've picked a template.
The main screen opens. Now for the moment that trips up every single new user.
Getting sound out of the computer.
I press the space bar, I see things moving.
But I hear nothing.
Where do I go? What's the one page I need to find?
You need to go directly to Preferences.
And then audio.
Okay, Preferences, Audio.
Yeah, this is the bridge.
Between the software's digital world,
And the physical world of your speakers.
that's where you have to enable
Your input device, your microphone.
on your output device, your speakers or headphones.
If those aren't set right, you're just not going to hear anything.
Right. And on that page, we hit our first piece.
Of unavoidable jargon, sample rate.
I see something like 48,000 hertz.
What does that actually mean in simple terms?
Okay, think of audio like a movie.
The sample rate is the frame rate of the sound.
So if you see 48,000 hertz,
That means the computer is taking
48,000 little snapshots,
of the sound wave every single second.
the higher the number, the more detail.
And what's the big rule for a novice here?
The crucial non-negotiable rule is that
The sample rate is a one-time decision,
you make it when you create the project.
and you cannot change it later.
So you have to pick one and stick with it.
Is there a best practice?
For someone on a standard laptop,
Yes, this is a huge tactical tip.
it is always best to keep the DAW's sample rate
The one you choose for your project.
exactly the same as your computer's own setting.
Windows or Mac, doesn't matter.
And why is that so important?
What happens if they don't match?
Well, if they mismatch,
Your computer has to constantly work as a translator?
and that eats up your CPU.
It can lead to crackles, glitches, timing problems.
If you match them, you eliminate that middleman.
Everything just runs smoother.
That makes perfect